Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. And here is how and when Josep Borrell, the foreign minister, let's put it this way, of the European Union, will lose his job. He makes some comments, demands, and requests, and they will be received very, very, let's put it this way, negatively. And these are the requests. European Union's Borrell, Israel has to adhere to international law. You're a dead man. You're gone. Your political life is over. It should have been for a long time, and you're old anyway. But hey, we see Biden still clinging to his little seat. Russia Today: some Israeli actions against international law. European Union. Mr. Borrell, he's going to lose his job. He's going to be out of the office in a week. He's going to say probably that he was misunderstood and that's not what he said. And the second, after he grovels and he begs for his life, he's going to be kicked out like a dog in the street on the side of the road. Like it happens with these kind of people who say something and they believe in or they think is right. They come after that person and that person makes the mistake of apologizing, thinking that he or she will be spared. They will not be spared. They make you apologize. They make you grovel and beg for your lives. And after you do that, they put it around the world as an example, and then they're gonna fuck you up and you're out. I have a few examples, and I will use Watson. His name is Watson. I can't remember his first name. He's a Nobel Prize laureate. James Watson. He is one of the guys who participated in the scientific discovery or the decoding of the human genome, DNA, blah 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 blah. And he got the Nobel Prize for that. He said something, I don't know, 15 years ago maybe, or even more, something about Africa. But I read what he said, something about there's no chance for Africa to change certain things. He was out. He begged. He thought he's old too, but it doesn't matter. He begged all his engagements to speak in London. The next day he was supposed to speak in London after this speech that he had. It was cancelled overnight. He was kicked out of the American Scientific Association, something like that, out. He was gone. You don't hear from Mr. Watson again. James Watson, beg you, go and check it out. For what he said, wait a minute, before he tried to clarify in his too late, he was out. They don't care. And that was used as an example. I remember it. So that means since then I was like, oh, that's a clear example. So Borrell will go. Denying Gaza water, food, and electricity is not appropriate, to say the least. Imagine you have a prisoner in your other room and you don't give that prisoner food, electricity, water. What would that be considered? That person will be starving. Is that the killing, eliminated, genocidal move? That person? Remember, Gaza is under the Israeli control. Israel determines what comes in, what goes out of Gaza. The same with my room. That's why I'm saying with my room and someone over there, the same thing here. Israel decided to turn off water, food, electricity, fuel. They said it. The defense minister of Israel said it. So how do you call that? I made 2 videos on that saying, what is this? You know what sounds to be. So this guy says just the normality that should not be said in this kind of situations. And I'm surprised. That's why he's going to be gone. And obviously they start with this thing right here. Israel, the same thing as I said before. Israel has the right to self-defense. Correct. But some of the decisions its government has made are contrary to international humanitarian law. EU Foreign Policy Commissioner Josep Borrell said on Tuesday, too late, you're gone. And I'm quoting, Israel has the right to defend, but it has to be done in accord with international humanitarian law. And some decisions are contrary to the international law. Borrell said in Oman, where he attended the joint meeting of foreign ministers from the EU and the Gulf Cooperation Council. Both the European Union and the GCC have condemned terrorist attacks by Hamas, Borrell noted, but also condemned any attacks on civilians, demanded the immediate release of all hostages, and called for Israel to respect international law and not block the delivery of food, water, electricity to the civilian population of Gaza. But these guys already lumped together Palestinians in Gaza with Hamas. For them, so all right, my friends, this is one, and then let's go to let's see if these guys are, they're not saying that. The other article, it says that Israel has the right to defend itself, but some of his decision would breach international law, he said. In response to the attack on Israel by Palestinian the same thing. Some of the actions, and the United Nations has already said that such as cutting water, cutting electricity, cutting food to a mass of civilian people is against international law. Well, we know that, but who's going to do something? Do something about it. The United States has its first aircraft carrier and some destroyers over there with the newest technology waiting, and they bring another group of military vessels in the Mediterranean. And then brings me to the Second World War. After the Second World War, when it was Harry Truman, who was an idiot, the one who dropped 2 atomic bombs on 2 civilian cities, killing more than 200,000 people. But hey, all right. So he thought, this idiot, it was in his memoirs, I think, one of his statements. I read it, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago. I can't remember when he read it. He said, Truman, referring to Stalin, the Gruzian, the Georgian communist dictator, not the Russian, the Georgian. He said, I think I made a good impression on Stalin. And Stalin, in his private conversation, thought that, what's his name? Truman was worthless. This is the word, worthless. Anyway, so Truman asked, I can't remember if it was at the Potsdam or not, the last meeting between these guys. They were carving the world now, so they didn't allow Adolf to carve the world because they had to carve the world. It's so idiotic. So the guy wanted to take over and has his spheres of influence, right? Lebensraum and so on, so they can live in space, and we're gonna go there and gonna push. These guys came in power, the Soviets with the Americans, and they did the same kind of shit, dividing the world. This is my sphere of influence, that's yours. We took over the world, 2 of them. Okay. Man, so Truman told Stalin, hey, you know, the Pope, that Pope, the Pope is concerned with Catholic population in Poland. Poland was given, because this is what the free world does, gives to the bad people countries. All right, so Poland was given to Soviet Union. I said the Pope is a little bit concerned with the Catholic population. We hope that the Catholics will not be oppressed or anything like that, you know, like a weasel. And Stalin looked at him and said, how many military divisions does the Pope have in Poland? And Truman, I'm a dumbass. He didn't say shit. Why? Because Stalin was looking at it from a perspective of power, of strength. I have the power. What are you gonna do about it? I do what the fuck ever I want. Stalin. The other one was like, we're not gonna challenge you, Joe. Nope. The same here. What do you think is gonna happen over there in Gaza with Israel, with the United States staying around? How many divisions the United Nations has, or European Union, around Gaza to go and say? Nothing, 0. So you see, you got this. Eventually, everything goes down to this. If in a debate, you can be smarter than me. If I beat you up, I will silence you on the spot, and everybody's gonna hear only my version of events and everything else. And if you don't want to, I'm gonna make you. This is the way it works. How I'm gonna make you? The same way, my friends. They do this. They create this illusion that you have a say. Like right now, I have a say right here. If I become a little bit, how should I put it, uncomfortable, or more like us, become more uncomfortable to the narrative pushed by the guys in charge, by Stalin and all those guys, they're gonna come for us. They're gonna come nicely first, like we ban you, then we're gonna do this and we're gonna that, and eventually if they start losing, they're not gonna debate us. No, they're gonna just take us out. Nobody's gonna hear from me again. I'll be around, but if I make noise outside, they're gonna make sure that I will not be outside anymore. You don't think that's possible? If you're a French guy, if you're American, if you're whatever you're a human being. That's how we are. The problem is the circumstance. If the circumstance allows, the most elevated person, sophisticated, will become what we are, animals. But no, not me. Okay, all right, not you. I'm glad you are like that. I'm glad you are so good. And I hope more like you are needed on this world. Okay? Really. But I have doubts. Why? Because there were others before you, before me, who were educated, who were sophisticated, who were smart, who were courageous. And when they got the power and they were unchecked, they fucked everything up. And people say, oh, if I were over there, no, I would not be like that. Most likely you would be. And I would be. It's not, I mean, it's hard to resist temptation. Unchecked temptation. What makes you? I mean, it's hard unless you're really strong on your frame. Keep your frame. Not impossible, but very unlikely. Because it's hard. That's why virtues, you work on virtues. Virtues, you don't just, oh, I'm virtuous, I'm courageous, I have wisdom, I have courage, and I have temperation, moderation. Yeah, man, woo. Because I said so. It doesn't work that way. You have to work. It's a constant work. It's like you have a knife. You always have to sharpen it, keep it sharp, always. Because you let it over there, you use it, it's gonna be flat and whatever, dull. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Borrell is gonna go out if he continues saying that, and I think right now I'm gonna hear about him crying. That's not what I meant. And yes, indeed, whomever does what these guys said they will do, cutting off water and all that, as I said in other videos, that can't be, I don't want to say okay. It's elimination of a group of people. How is that called? Because if a group of people is deprived of water and food, they're going to be starving and dying over there, and exposure and all that. So what was that called? Purposely doing that. That's called genocide. Thank you very much for being with me again today. If it's calculated, I mean, go and get the definition for me. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.